that was a time period when the Democrats were, as Malcolm X called them, white supremacists.
Yes.
Okay.
That's
Now,
because you have to remember that the Democrats were Southern. The majority of the power in the Democratic Party was in the South. You know, today you have your problem. The reason that blacks will not vote Republican today is because the Democratic Party hijacked the Republican Party, the Southern Democrats. They were called Dixiecrats. That's what you call them. But they moved over to the Republican Party because of civil rights movements. When Johnson, you know, when they wanted the Civil Rights Act, the Dixiecrats hijacked the Republican Party. That's why you have the problems we have today with Republicans. It's not, they're, you know, when you say these are radical people, well, you look where they came from. They came from the Dixiecrats of the South.
now, you know, one thing, you mentioned a couple of things just then. All right, now during that time period, especially the early 60s, the black movement was gaining more and more steam. The sit-ins were happening. And when I look back at different tapes back then, or even shows that were done back then, TV shows, if it's the early 1960s and you were black, you were a black militant, period.
If you raise your voice, you know, and desolate toward someone, if you said, well, you know, you can't do this to me or my people, you know, if I said that going in the back door is wrong, then I'm a radical. You know, if I have a voice of my own to say, well, this is what I believe in, you know, this what you're doing to me is wrong, so I'm a radical, you know.
So how did you not let those type of labels deter you, because you've always been a person who spoke their mind, and we wouldn't cower to those types of things, but yet you were still able to be successful in life?
Let me say something. I think Velvet hit it best when she said the home set. And our parents, like most parents in the 40s and 50s, they wanted a better opportunity for their children. And they taught us at home the morals. And way before there was a Martin Luther King talking about nonviolence, parents taught us about turning the other cheek and doing what is right and trying to resolve issues other than fighting and so forth. So it was instilled in us to be overcomers before we had the opportunity. And as time came by, we saw and we knew that it was time for change, and it was time that we needed to step up and say what was right and what was wrong. Where in time past, we just took it and went forward because things were like they were. And I'm so glad, Archie, that things are not like how it was when we were first playing ball, because we were limited to McCulloch Center, and if there was basketball in the public park 2 or 3 blocks away, we knew not to go over there because that was the white people's area and we were not welcome. But I'm glad that things are different, and it's only been time that has made a change. Do you know, Velvet, I have a grandson, and he's #1 in his class and have been for about 5 years in Fishers, Indiana, the white suburban part of Indianapolis. And his dad's an attorney and his mother is a school teacher. And I said, he should be a successful student. He lives in a $400,000 or $500,000 home. And this kid, Arch, he doesn't know that his best friend is a white girl, because he doesn't have the baggage that we have and so forth. All he knows that that's his best friend. He doesn't realize that she's white and she's a girl, because he just are out there in middle income doing the best that he can and socializing with doctors and bankers' kids, all of them. So he doesn't have that baggage that goes along with discrimination and so forth. He just knows to be the best that he can be.
But even though that's a good mindset to have, if he took your genes, he's going to have a darkness in his hue. And as you mature in the society, he's going to be judged because of his skin color. And that happens. I've seen that happen, you know, across the board. You know, Velvet, how do we handle that? How do we process that without being angry at the broader society? Because it has to happen because everybody tends to go through that maturing process.
Well, as Rick says, there are certain income areas, you know, that's in the box, that it's okay to fit in. Okay, but even when he comes out of that, see, you have to be accepted on both sides. So coming from this status to this status, you're still black. You just black rich or black poor.
Yes.
So that's still saying we still have to fight. I mean, as well as I did in school, and my mother never having to go to school to take care of things and to look at the white man in the face, just saying it just the way she would have said, don't have me up there looking at these white people in their face. I send you to school to get an education. She never had to do this. That don't mean I didn't have to fight, because I can remember in gym class, you can only take so much. And it was time for the ball, and you know how you pick your sides, so you kind of have a predominantly black side. When I said just black, with just maybe 3 or 4 whites, and then you got a whole white group over here. Well, if you're winning, you're gonna get a little angry with it. Your lady threw her shoe, taking her shoe off, and it just happened to hit me through the neck in the face. And I can remember saying to myself, okay, we're going to just accept this, and it was an accident. And then she decided to say what she had to say. Now, that went beyond the boundaries, so I had to kind of check that. So, my first fight in school.
Well, but I had a chance to talk to other women who you went to school with, and from what I understand, you were somewhat known as you may have been a small person, but you didn't back down from anybody.
I could stand my ground, yes. So like I said, from the beginning, when they know this, and they know I did not cause problems, I did my work, I attended, never missed a day, never tardy, but you could not walk over me. So this is when they find you're militant, so I guess I was Black Power.
Well, Archie, you know, during that same time period, you know, like she just said, a lot of you were, you know, would stand up. But, you know, one thing I've been most curious about is, with you being involved in athletics, and there may have been a couple other teams that had blacks on their team, but what I'm getting at is, when you played these teams like No.Side and Concordia, and from what I understand, you were called names.
Well, let's not go into Concordia, let's just stick with No.Side, because that's the team that comes to mind. Yes, we were called names, but the thing is, I sit down and think I was called names because some of them meant it, but some called names just to see how they could provoke me and to push me out of my game. So all they wanted me to do was to retaliate. You know, if you fall in and play their mind games, then you know you've lost. You're not yourself. You're not going to be at your best going out there. They did this. I know some of the coaches, I think, put them up to it. Like I say, some of them were doing it because this were their beliefs. But yeah, you had to go out, play your game, or do the best you can, and you had to overlook it. Because, like I say, my parents told me that someday somebody's going to call you out of your name, and you better be prepared to, you know, it's not going to be roses, better, you know, all the time. He said, but you have to be prepared for when they call you out of your name, how you're going to handle it.